NC Pork. Good for the plate, great for the state. Well, let's talk about three matchups in the ACC here in the Bold North State this weekend. And first up, it's number 16, Virginia. They are 6-1 right now. Tony Elliott's Cavaliers are bowl eligible the third week in October. This is one of the great stories of ACC football 2025. They will be in Kenan Stadium for the oldest college football rivalry in the South. North Carolina 2-4. And I got to tell you guys, you talked about, Brew, about how Stanford was a trap game for Florida State. And that was a chance where they could really, let me start it. Brew, you talked about how Florida State at Stanford was a trap game for the Seminoles, and it ended up being just that, with Stanford getting the win. I think the same right here for Virginia. They're coming off a big come-from-behind win. They are feeling pretty good about themselves. They're celebrating going bowling. They're doing all these fun things while North Carolina comes up just shy. And I think back to that 2023 season where North Carolina came in all fat and happy, undefeated for that fall break game at Kenan Stadium against Virginia. And since then, Carolina football has been in the dregs. I mean, it has been a steadily declining ship right here for North Carolina football since that 2023 loss to Virginia. Could it be maybe the reversal of fortune and North Carolina summoning some type of karma from somewhere and getting the win over Virginia this weekend? Would that make the Carolina faithful happy?
Well, there's no question that it would make the Carolina faithful very, very happy. I just sent Tony Elliott, guys, has got to be a front runner in a National Coach of the Year poll at this particular point. He's got some meat left on the bone. He's got some games yet to play. This is a huge, huge football game for him to take his group on the road. And I sense, Tony's got a tremendous calmness under duress. You never see Tony he's never, he never loses his composure. He keeps his composure extremely well. I think his team has taken on his personality, and he's got a quarterback that can really make some plays. I think they've got the maturity to go on the road and play well. I do not think that they are going to play down to North Carolina. I think they're going to play up to Virginia.
You're talking about a Virginia team that's averaging 40 points per game, and which is number one in the ACC at this point in time, against a UNC offense that's averaging 18.7. Those numbers just don't match up. If I were in Las Vegas right now, I would be. I would think I would be going for those guys out of Charlottesville at this point, but. It is a huge challenge for the Tar Heels to make a step forward. Whether they win the game or not is to play well and to make another move to advance what they're doing with their program. But it is, again, like we said a week ago, for Clemson and for a couple other teams, it's a critical game for the University of Virginia. They need to come to Kenan Stadium. They need to get a win that continues to advance them in the national picture.
The only loss on Virginia's record this year is to North Carolina State in the Wolfpack. They are hitting the road after a much-needed bye for Dave Doran's Wolfies. The Wolfpack has lost 3 straight to FBS teams and comes in as a 7.5-point underdog to Coach Pat Narduzzi and the Pitt Panthers. Pitt's won 3 straight, Jimbo. What do you think about this defensive-minded Panther team? Can they shut down NC State and ramp up the talk about Dave Doran that's been dormant for the better part of the last 10 to 14 days?
Well, yeah, the interesting thing, you go play Pitt, and I had the opportunity to play at Pitt on numerous occasions, and it just depends on what the weather is that day. I've got my Steelers hat on, which is appropriate for this discussion. But that stadium can be pretty empty on a cold day sometimes in the at the end of October, and you just from a motivation standpoint, it'll be critical that the Wolfpack be motivated to go in and hopefully they've been able to get healthy over the last 2 weeks with an open date. But the numbers say that you got to favor Pitt, who is on a roll right now against the Wolfpack that is on a roll going the other way. They're rolling. Pitt's rolling uphill. NC State right now is rolling downhill.
Brew, CJ Bailey is the Wolfpack quarterback. He has been pretty solid this year for Coach Doran. 72% is what he's shooting from the pocket right now. 14 touchdown passes for CJ Bailey. And he has the ACC's leading rusher in Hollywood Smothers behind him with 739 yards and a great nickname to boot. I mean, what is it for NC State? What's going to get them over the top?
I just think that he's got to play, Coach Doran's got to play to the strengths of his playmakers. You just mentioned two really good ones right there. CJ Bailey. I mean, I think CJ Bailey's got a chance to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country. I think he's a guy that there's going to be a whole lot of people trying to check on him and see what his thoughts are about possibly staying at NC State, maybe going somewhere else. Hollywood Smothers, obviously he's from the area and he went away, he come back. He's a dynamic player. He's a really, and it's time to put the ball in your playmakers' hands. It's time for those guys to really, Dave's got to, hey, you got to play to your strengths. And his strengths are a quarterback that can do things with his feet, that can do things with his arm. Let's boot, let's naked, let's play action pass. Let's let him make some plays with his feet. And then let's let Smothers do some things. Right now, Pitt's playing good football. And I get a sense that Pat Narduzzi's team has a great sense of confidence. I think that right now they're feeling really good about themselves. And I get the sense that maybe the Wolfpack is not sure. They're not sure about how good and how confident they are right now. And so this win right here would go a long way at settling down the Wolfpack Nation and making them feel a whole lot better about their football team if they can go to Pitt and beat and win a football game.
Jim, was this a very opportune timing for the Wolfpack to have their open date? Does this perhaps give that secret sauce to Dave Doran and Coach Elliott and Coach Roper, his coordinators over there in Raleigh, to get that type of a win that Brew's talking about?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. They were, especially on defense. The Wolfpack was a beat up football team coming into the previous game. They needed some time to heal. They needed some time to go in and evaluate where they were and see where they needed to go to where they needed to restructure. But I'm going to tell you some interesting numbers about this game. NC State's averaging 30 points a game, and they're giving up 25.7 per game at this point in time. Pitt, on the other hand, is only giving up 20.3 points per game, and they're scoring 38.4 points per game. So the numbers are not that skewed that much. So it's going to be this will be an interesting matchup, without a doubt. And if the Wolfpack is healthy, they got good coaches on that staff. They'll have a good plan, and they'll go into Pitt and they'll play well. But I again, like a lot of games in this day and time, Brew, you'll agree with this. I know you got to be able to win close games. You got to be able to win in the fourth quarter.
No question about it, Jim. Last possession games, man. That's what the NFL is all about. It's getting to be what college football is about. It's the last possession and how efficient you can be, particularly running a no-huddle offense, going down the field and scoring points.
Pitt and the Pack, the 3:30 game. Another game at noon will be the last game that we talk about this week. It has the Wake Forest Demon Deacons coming off of their open date against last year's runner-up in the ACC championship game, the SMU Mustangs, at 12 noon at a Legacy Stadium in Winston-Salem. This one is under the radar, but brothers, I tell you, SMU's offense, it is particularly explosive this year under Rhett Lashley. 410 yards per game. Kevin Jennings throwing 17 touchdowns. But their defense, Jim, is giving up 316 passing yards a game. If there's ever been an opponent that was tailor-made not to take advantage of that little nugget, it's Wake Forest, because the Demon Deacons don't necessarily have a lot of depth or confidence in their quarterback position right now with Robbie Ashford.
Well, he's had some situations that have created some difficulty for him with some injuries, and I stopped short. I shouldn't call them injuries. He's been banged up. You know, sometimes you got to play with a little aches and pains. Injuries you don't play with, but so he's made some advancement. But at the same time, what's carrying Wake Forest right now? Did anybody realize that Wake Forest is number 2 in this league in total defense right now? You know, they're playing very well defensively, which is keeping them in games. And their offense is number 10 in scoring in the league at only 29 points per game. Their defense is number 2 and only giving up 20 points per game. So when you look at it, you got to look at the Wake defense, and the Wake defense is doing a hell of a job right now of carrying them and keeping them in games. So I think it'll be an interesting matchup between Rhett Lashley and his group and the Demon Deacons.
Hey, Mike. So last week was the coming out party for an outstanding young quarterback that played for us last year at Charlotte and now started his first game for Wake Forest for the Demon Deacons in Deshaun Purdy. They went out and they scored 39 points with him as the quarterback. I'm just telling you, guys, I'm going to give you a little insight. The kid is just like CJ Bailey. He's 6'6". He's 225, 230 pounds. He's athletic as all get out. Got an extremely strong arm. Kid from Baltimore that Biff Poggi recruited to Charlotte. And guys, I'm just telling you, every time he steps on the field, he's going to do nothing but improve. And I tell you what, he's got a lot of confidence to begin with. But guys, I'm talking about this. You talk about a big, pretty guy could sit in the pocket, spin the heck out of that ball. And I'm going to tell you what, I know they feel badly about losing Ashford, but I'm going to tell you guys, Deshaun Purdy's going to make his mark on the ACC.
This has been Bold North State Football Daily, an exclusive presentation of the North Carolina Sports Network. Make sure you follow us on social media at the NC Sportsnet, and check out our website that is wall-to-wall coverage of North Carolina sports at ncsportsnetwork.com. Our foundational partner is the North Carolina Pork Council, raising the bacon, raising the bar. Telling the stories of the Bold North State, this is the North Carolina Sports Network.